Hi everybody, it's Miss Judy here for Art Outside the Box on Thursday evening. Thanks for being with me tonight. I've got a project that I think is going to be kind of fun. Looks like a little present, but actually when you untie it, do it this way, it turns into a little accordion book. So you can put notes in here, you can use it as kind of a journal, or if you take a trip or do something fun, you can make little notes in here. You can give it away to a friend. Lots of different things you can do with this, and also with the paper that you choose, you can make these seasonal. If you wanted to do something for the holidays or for Easter, for spring, Valentine's Day, you can adapt it to that. So hold on here just a second, I'll get my things ready and we'll get started. All right, this requires very few materials, which is something I like about it. So I will show you what you need, and it does take a little practice and a little bit of patience, so don't get frustrated if you're struggling at the very beginning. But here's some measurements right here. I don't know if you can see this. You may want to write these down. You're going to need 3 8x8 sheets of paper, and I'm using just very simple basic copy paper, but you can use cardstock. If you wanted your paper patterned, you could do that as well. And then you're also going to need 2 squares, and these are 4 1/4 by 4 1/4. And this isn't really heavy, but it's just some scrap cardboard that I found back in our materials. And then to cover that, you're also going to need some pattern paper, and these squares are 6 by 6, so that's going to nicely cover this. So the first step is you also need a glue stick, a pencil for measuring, a ruler, a pair of scissors, and some Scotch tape, and then some kind of a ribbon, but I am going to use this raffia that we had, so you'll see how I use that as we get into the project. So the first thing you want to do is cover your cardboard. So I'm just going to put some glue stick all around here, being careful to get nice and close to the edge. And then best way to do it is to just lay that right in the center, as close as you can get it. And then you're gonna cut right up to that corner like so. This is gonna be like wrapping a present. Cut, cut. And then we'll just take these edges and we're gonna press these down. Oops. If you do happen to get some of this glue stick on your table or your hands are close, it does wash off pretty easily. All right, so I'm just gonna bend that and press. I wanna give it a nice good crease so that sticks on there. And this will give you a nice edge. Okay. All right, so there's one of the covers for your book, and then we'll go ahead and do the other one. Same size right here. This is 4 1/4 by 4 1/4, and I've got my 6 by 6 piece of decorative paper. I will glue this firmly down, and we'll repeat the same process. Just get that as close as you can to the middle. It doesn't have to be exact. This part is a little bit forgiving. Once again, we'll trim those corners. So this is the easy part. And like I said, you can kind of match your papers that you find to the season, or you can do these in plain colors too and get some kind of a cool ribbon with a pattern. You can embellish them with beads. I'll just show you the basics here, and then you can let your imagination kind of take you away. All right. This glue's gonna take a minute to dry, but that's okay. All right, so all I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna weight this down and let those sit for a few minutes. We'll move this out of the way. Okay, so what I did was I made one of these up just kind of for reference for myself, because when you're getting into these folds, it does get a little confusing. So I'll be able to look at this while I fold, but you can see how it opens up and then it goes right back together. But it does take a little bit of finagling. The folds are easy. So you've got your 8x8 sheet of paper. You're simply going to fold it in half, and you want to crease things really well. And then you'll fold it in half the other way. Okay, and then you can see it's like a tent here, all right? But you want to flip it over so it's inverted, and then do your triangle just one time. And we'll repeat that with 2 more pieces of paper. So fold in half, fold in half, and then you've got your mountain. You're going to turn it over to the valley. This is how I remember it. And do a triangle. This is a little bit important when it comes to putting this together, that you do that flip. One more time here. Half. Half again. Okay, flip it over and do a triangle. All right, now here's where it gets a little bit tricky. So you're going to attach these together. So when you look at this, you'll have 2 sides like so that are a flat square, and then you'll have 2 that are divided into these triangles. So you're going to want to start with, I hope you can see this okay. I'm going to make some lines on here just so I can show you. Here's one of my flat squares right here. So I want to find another one on this piece right there. So I'm going to match these up just like so. And I've got another flat square right opposite that with no triangle folds, and I've got one here. I'm going to match these up, and this is how I'm going to glue it together. And I'm just going to double check myself here, make sure that everything's good, and I think we're okay. All right, so you can start gluing these. In a few minutes, it gets to be a little bit like a puzzle, trying to get all your folds going in the right direction after these are glued together. I've got this flat square here. Try and get right up to your corners and give it a pretty good covering. And I'm going to match that up with this one. All right. So you're going to want to let that sit for a few minutes before you start to work with it. Now the next thing I'm going to do is start to put the cover on this. So that is going to attach here. I'm not going to glue it down quite yet. And the other one is going to be here. Does that make sense? Probably not at all, but hopefully it will in a minute. All right, once again, here's the one that I made. It's kind of like my guide. I've got my covers on this side so I can sort of see how these folds need to go and make adjustments if I need to. Which I do. I had this a little bit upside down. All right, I'm going to go ahead and glue these covers on. And then we can work with the folds here. So the easiest way to do that is start with your paper. Make sure you have the square that doesn't have any folds in it. And I'm going to, this is just a little bit bigger than my square. So I'm going to center that and just press that firmly down. So that's one cover. Now I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. See, this isn't quite stuck down there. Okay, so I'm going to glue this. And glue the other cover down. And then I would probably let this sit for about 15 minutes to make sure that everything's dry. But then you can start folding it. So this is where it gets a little confusing and you need to be a little bit patient. But you want to fold these triangles in like I just did there. So you're going to have something that looks like this. And then you're going to fold, I have to turn it over here. And again, it just kind of keeps getting smaller here. And then your last folds. And like I said, don't get frustrated with this. You might have to play around with it for a little while. You might not get it quite right the first time, but it'll come together for you eventually. See my, there we go. Okay, it's all together. And like I said, try and let that dry for a little bit. I did not, so things are sticking together where they shouldn't be. But when I open this, it should come out just like this accordion. And from now on, this will go back together quite a bit easier too. So there you go. The last step would be, and you can do this either one of two ways. You can simply tie this around into a nice bow. So then you have to take this off every time you open it. Or the better way to do it would be to, and I'm not going to use quite so much. And I'm kind of glad this is still wet because I'm going to pull this up a little bit. And I'm going to tuck some of this right underneath here. There's a little piece of tape. And then glue this right back down. Okay, I'll cut this in half. And then I'll do the same thing on the other side. Tape that down. All right, so when you close this up, you've got these, and you can just kind of wrap these around, and then they stay right with your book. Tie that in a bow, and you are good to go. So there you have it. I will show you that on this one, I did do a little embellishing on the inside. I cut out some of the flowers from my pattern paper and just stuck some of those in there, and I thought that looked kind of cool too. So all different kinds of things you can do with this. I hope you have fun making one of these, and we will come back next week and do some more fun things. I've got a project I think that might interest you quite a bit. Thanks everybody for being with me tonight. I know that looked a little bit confusing. It's simple to do, but it's really hard to explain. So if you're interested in making some of these, I would suggest you watch the video again, kind of practice it, make one out of some scrap paper, and just keep it on hand to refer to. And after you do 2 or 3 of these, it'll go like magic, all right? So thanks again for being with me, and I will see you next Thursday. Have a great week. Bye-bye.